Okay, so I mentioned the word loosh and the video stopped recording, so I'm going to do this bit again, which is why it looks different. Coincidence? I think not. Ooh. Okay, so what is loosh? Well, loosh is an ancient concept that refers to an energy harvested from emotional responses. And it goes beyond this dimension. So it's a hyperdimensional energy generated by trauma, and it's a food for entities in those extra dimensions, which in the Gnostic texts where this concept came from were known as archons. Now, you may not believe in extra dimensional entities at all, but there are those that do, and they are invested in harvesting these negative energies to maintain the frequency of reality as it is, that provides them with power to actually create what they want the world to be like. Now, yeah, this might be getting a bit weird, and yeah, you can take or leave this part. I'm not going to go into it anymore, but I just wanted to include it as a potential part of the reason why we have so much fear created, so much of the media, so much what you could call fake alternative media, just trying to create a fear frequency that of course can be used to control, but perhaps it even has a more of an esoteric meaning than that. Okay, right, so now I want to touch on a concept from human design, as if we weren't getting weird enough already. This concept from human design, which can explain why the world seems to be getting more and more crazy, with this breaking down of existing systems that we're seeing, all the darkness, like horrible things being brought to light. It seems like things are terrible, but really there's just a lot of stuff being exposed. Lots of amazing things going on in the world, of course, as well. But there is this clear sense of transition, like we're moving from something to something else. And I think it relates to the reason why totalitarian, centralized efforts at control seem to be falling apart and failing more and more often these days. So if you've looked at human design at all, you're probably aware that we've each got a body graph that shows our unique expression of individuality and how to operate best as yourself in the world, trusting your strategy and authority to make decisions, etc. But it's not just us as individuals. The entire perceived reality is also encoded in the same way. And one of the key areas is something called the background frequency. So individually, each of us is born with our own incarnation cross, which essentially shows a potential purpose in our lives, which we could be empowered to fulfill in some way. For example, I have the right angle cross of tension with my incarnation cross, and I fulfill that through provoking the emotional spirit in others, for creating tension and like getting their emotions triggered effectively, helping them to shake things up and support their evolutionary change, so that they can move towards the highest good and being more in alignment with who they are. So the entire reality, matrix, or whatever you want to call it, also has an incarnation cross. And for the past just over 400 years, basically since around the start of the Industrial Revolution, we've been living in what's known as the cross of planning. And this incarnation cross for global background frequency was an energy that encouraged collectivism, tribalism, top-down control, and conformity to the group above the individual. So if you think about it, everyone alive today has only experienced the world in this background frequency, and it's allowed centralization of power, collective efforts, government control, and so on to thrive. And that's probably was an important part of our evolution. A lot has happened, but as we get to the end of this time, you can see these systems that might have been beneficial becoming more and more corrupted, not serving the purpose that they're meant to, disempowering more and more people, and concentrating power in the hands of a few. And from a human design perspective, this is all shortly going to change. In early 2027, the background frequency is going to change to the cross of the sleeping phoenix. And this energy is just about as far from the energy of the cross of planning as it's possible to be. So, yeah, it's forecast to be an age of self-empowerment, where it's going to be a very individual age, where the global theme, I hope, and it has the potential for people to operate from this place of enlightened individualism rather than just what's in it for me selfishness, but rather than requiring external leadership and being told what to do, the potential within this is to unveil your own unique human process, your own inner authority and your inner truth, so that you can rely on that to face and thrive in the upcoming changes that we're all starting to experience now. And obviously this is a big change and could be quite a wild ride, as the old thing breaks down and this new energy takes off. But what it will mean is that we're not going to be able to just take for granted that there'll be systems and structures in place to take care of us. So that doesn't mean, of course, that people aren't going to look after each other. Most people by nature will look after other people, and if anything, the system, because it's taken away that nature and that need, it's actually reduced that. But as that need becomes more, as this energy for centralized control and collective solutions is in the process of collapsing, then people will be looking after themselves, and then it's like an outwards overflowing energy themselves, the family, communities, etc., from the ground up. So this is already happening. We're seeing less and less energy available for these sort of tribal and collective solutions, and we're here really to witness the unraveling of this social fabric and move towards operating from inner truth and self-empowerment, so that we can live fully and richly as ourselves. And as I said, if we do this in a conscious way, then it doesn't have to be selfish, doesn't have to be a greedy, look after yourself world. It could be more along the lines of voluntary interaction, building your life, building your family's life, community life, from the ground up. And that has the potential, I think, to be great, but of course, with challenges as people evolve and adapt into that. So, in this crossover point at the moment, where, so it was predicted, Ra, who created Human Design, predicted, or downloaded, or however, that there's this change from the cross of planning to the sleeping phoenix was going to start in 2020. So you might remember that there was that big centralized control grab that obviously had a massive effect that all kicked off in 2020, but didn't really work out as planned, and actually, accelerated a lot of people's consciousness through that time as well. And that's, we're seeing that sort of process, 7-year process, a sort of 7-year cycle up until 2027, at which point cross of planning energy background frequency is finished, and the cross of the sleeping phoenix is in place, and then that will accelerate, and we're probably going to see more and more craziness, good, bad, whatever, but lots of interesting times going on, all leading to this place of ultimately individual empowerment and uniqueness. So I really hope that makes sense as to why we are seeing the control freaks attempt to bring in more of these strict, tough, authoritarian, fear-based fear-based measures, and but why they aren't going according to plan, or certainly aren't always going according to plan. Okay, so that's just a very light overview of the cross of the sleeping phoenix, which goes into way more depth than what I've summarized here. But we can see this happening. We can see the old structures falling apart, and this is our opportunity to find new ways forwards, learning how to trust ourselves, know ourselves, be ourselves, live freely. And for me, I'm actually really excited by that. So expect that things are going to be changing. It might seem crazy. Just observe it, and if with this awareness that we are going through a transition, and to get ready for these big changes, then I really encourage you to shed anything from your life that keeps you feeling weak, disempowered, having to conform, and really keeps you out of integrity with who you truly are. And if you want any guidance on that, I'm here to offer that for you. So if this resonates with you, you want to have a quick chat about any of this, and whether there's things that you could do to make your life better, your health, wealth, freedom, living more in alignment, then just get in touch. And I'd love to really support you to have a thriving, happy, healthy, fulfilling life in alignment with who you are. So that's all there is now for me. I hope you found it interesting. And if you want more of this kind of content, let me know in the comments. Over and out.